that basically permits the cases of food poisoning to happen. So just because of lack of good management, trying to be positive.
Yeah,
guys.
this might be a pure opinion.
Yeah,
because we don't know what actually happened.
This is like
till
pure
now.
opinion, and we're trying to stay positive here, guys.
Hi guys, welcome to i3L podcast. In today's episode, we will be talking about 2 food poisoning outbreaks in Indonesia. The first is Indonesia's official free nutritious meal program, known also as Makan Bergizi Gratis or MBG. The second is the fake gluten-free claim by an online local bakery shop in Indonesia. To help us understand more, we have a special guest with us today, Sir Kenneth. Hi, sir. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Introduce yourself.
So hi everyone. My name is Kenneth. I'm currently a lecturer here in i3L University, and I'm currently in the food technology department, specializing in food safety.
Okay, let's dive right in.
Yeah, sure.
First, the MBG. So according to the Center of Economic and Law Studies, CELIOS, as of 6 October 2025, there are more than 9,000 children in Indonesia who have suffered of food poisoning due to these free school meals.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I'm not mistaken, the program itself received a huge funding from the government,
Sure.
right? Like 10 billion US dollar. And I don't understand. What do you think actually went wrong here?
Okay. Well, I think for a lot of like the food poisoning cases that is happening across like the country, we can essentially like attribute it to like just a common, I guess, problem, which is basically bacteria. Basically, I think a lot of news outlets as well has reported that a lot of the food poisoning can be attributed to like bacteria, such as Bacillus cereus as well as Staphylococcus aureus. Those are the 2 bacteria that I've read in like news outlets that are basically like the perpetrator of like these food poisoning outbreaks. And basically, this happens because of a lot of like different factors that contributes to the growth of these bacteria, such as, for example, let's say improper hygiene. Let's maybe one of the a lot of like the kitchens, they may practice improper hygienes in their like cooking process, or even like when they're like cleaning plates or like utensils and stuff, as well as possibly, let's say, improper temperature as well. So these 2 bacteria, they normally grow at a specific range of temperatures, especially in Indonesia. It's quite hard to control because we live in like a tropical country. So our like normal temperature range is right around maybe like 30 degrees Celsius, I think. And this is basically the temperature at which these bacteria are very optimal. They have a very optimal growth at these temperatures, so therefore they can basically proliferate much quicker than usual. So I think that's also one of the reasons why there is a lot of like food poisoning cases in our country right now.
Okay. So, if I listen to your explanations, the procedure to keep food safe to be eaten by a mass of people, it sounds a little bit complicated, yes, sir. And I'm afraid that maybe because it's complicated, then it makes people reluctant to follow the strict rules.
Yeah.
This was actually mentioned in an article by Reuters,
Yeah.
where Dadan Hindayana, the head of National Nutrition Agency, which runs the program, said poisoning cases jumped in the past 2 months because kitchens were violating standards and operation procedures,
Yeah.
such as procuring ingredients 4 days instead of 2 days ahead of requirement.
Okay.
Lawmaker Adi Wuryanto also noted that only 36 out of 8,000 kitchens had earned certification for food hygiene and sanitations. I'm a foodie, sir, but I'm no food safety expert. However, just looking at these reports, in my opinion, maybe Indonesia is not ready to run such a huge program like this. What do you think, sir?
Okay. Well, I think just as you said, these are like actual data that is backed up by like basically it's backed up by data and evidence as well. And I think the actual like principle on keeping food safe is actually quite simple. It's just like the fact that we're actually executing this like program at a very large scale. So the management of that food safety system itself is what makes it very hard for us to do. So I think based on like my like quick search through internet, I think this program, like this MBG program, started I think at like January, and by March we're already like trying to apply this program at 38 different provinces in Indonesia. And I mean that's a very huge scale in to apply like this program. So I think the actual scale itself is the problem. I think it's very hard to control a lot of like the different principles of food safety if we're doing it at a very huge scale, right? So even like for example, if we take an example in Japan where they have like the school lunch program, um, at first they usually start with an experiment. So in Japan, they usually start their school lunch program back in like 1946 or something, if I'm not mistaken. And they start only at a small area first. So they start as an experiment first. If I'm not mistaken, in the Tokyo metropolitan area, they started the school lunch program first. And then after a year after that is when they start to expand to other parts of Japan. So I think if we're trying to like maintain the highest level of food safety, I think if we're starting at a big scale, it's going to be a bit hard for us to manage, I think. So yeah, I think that's what went wrong in the program.
Yeah, yeah. So if you recap, the program itself is actually good, right?
Yes,
So
of
if
course.
we see that other countries are doing it, but maybe since it's a huge and Indonesia is very huge,
Yes.
this big scale is not really ready for us, right? It's not
Yeah.
really suitable for us,
Yeah, exactly.
especially with since we don't have like a pre-training or
course.
pre-program like that, right?
Yes, of course. I think if we take this program, I think a bit slower, I think, and we can like try to like minimize maybe like the area. I think we can try to like minimize the number of casualties of like because of like food poisoning. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. I do understand that though. Because even if let's say I'm like a catering owner, I might be very open to join
Yeah.
the program, but without proper training or
Yeah, of
without proper socializations or education, I might do something wrong that
Yeah.
I didn't know it was wrong, or I didn't know it might lead to something toxic in the food. Let's say like that.
Yeah, of course, and it's not the fault of like the food handlers, of course.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of like the difficulties on managing a lot of things at a very high level and a very big scale as well. So it's very difficult as well. So take like a simple example. If you're trying to like make a specific food at home, at first you would want to try it to your close relatives first, right? You would want to like send it to your relatives, or you want to try it with your friends first before actually like sending it out to the market, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with I think this program. We need to like do a sort of like a small scale first before actually like applying it to a bigger scale, I think.
Okay. I agree. Okay, with everything happening right now, I hope there's no food poisoning still happening,
so.
but it's really big in the news. It's still happening. What is your recommendations for the program, sir, to improve the food safety of MBG?
Okay. Well, I think the key solution to like improving the MBG program's effectiveness is essentially in the management system. I think, especially in the food management system. So, things it can start from just as simple as raw material choosing. Okay, of course, we can start with a good quality raw material first. If we start with good quality material, it's going to follow along until the end of the product. So, if we start with a lower quality product, it's not going to improve on the quality if you process it too much. So we need to start with good raw materials first. And then after we have the raw materials, then we can, for example, move on to a good processing system. We need to have a specific flow process that we can follow along and making sure that everyone follows that procedure as well. Then we can also maintain or prepare, for example, a good kitchen design and layout. A good kitchen design and layout can help quite a lot in like the management of the safety. For example, usually, if possible, a good kitchen layout or like design involves a material going to a certain direction. For example, a material should go in one direction, while another material should go in another direction. If we can keep this like good kitchen design and like layout, we can also prevent cross-contamination from happening. So for example, like using not using like the same knife to cut raw beef and also to cut like the final product. So that's also like a source of cross contamination as well. And I think this is a simple thing to do, but to apply it to like a big scale is quite difficult, I think.
Yeah.
I think, and also I think finally proper training as well. Like if we have the tool, but we don't have the person to handle the tool, I think the tool itself is going to be useless, right? So the system itself is the tool. The people that's using the system is going to be the key to executing a good food program, of course. So proper training of the food handlers, the kitchen staff, as well as like the distributors and the cleaners as well, I think is also going to be important to ensuring the final product reaches the children safely as well. And I think that's basically the key solution to this like program, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So if you can recap, there's actually still room for improvement.
Of course, yeah.
There are a lot of room for improvements, and we hope that with all of this news happening, the government can improve themselves, take
Yeah.
notes, evaluate their program, and then hopefully in the future there will be no more food poisoning.
And I think the government does try to improve on like the effectiveness of the MBG program. If I'm not mistaken, they're also like right now trying to look for like some auditors to basically like audit their like kitchens as well. They're actively trying to improve the program. So I think this program has a lot of like potential, but I do need to emphasize that this program is still a new program, of course. So we cannot be too judgy. So any kind of like new program needs a lot of like improvements. I think the key important fact here is that the government is still trying to improve, I think.
Yeah, yeah. We're hoping for the best.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the second drama, the fake gluten-free claim case by an online local bakery
Yeah.
who blew up Instagram recently. I mean, like, everyone is doing marketing gimmicks here and there.
Yeah.
But I think that not everyone understand how dangerous fake claim is for food products. Can you
Yeah.
help us like explain a bit how dangerous it is for the people?
Okay, so probably like the most common like allergies or like I guess sensitivity that people know is, for example, like gluten sensitivity, or maybe some people know it as celiac disease as well. You know that some people are also like quite sensitive to like crustaceans, like for example shrimps, as well as like clams as well, right? So these kinds of like allergies, the effects that it has on people are quite varying in different effects, of course. Some people might have a very mild reaction, like very mild reactions, such as, for example, just having like a rash or maybe like being itchy maybe after eating like shrimp. And for some people, it might be quite dangerous and life-threatening as well. So, for example, like if a person eats like a shrimp or like a gluten-contained product, they might develop some inflammation that might, for example, close up their respiratory tract so they cannot breathe. So in that case, it's very serious, right? So the reason why these fake claims are quite important is because it endangers the safety of the consumers, right? The food business operators, FBOs, they have a responsibility to create safe foods because the food that they produce is targeted for the consumers, right? And of course, the consumers, because they are just consumers, they cannot actually like control what they eat, right? They can only control what they eat based on their options. If for example, they want to buy some certain foods, they can control themselves and they can maintain their safety by, for example, reading the labels, right? So, as a food business operator, it's basically their job to essentially make sure that the food that they produce is safe, as well as the information that they put on their label is also true as well, because that's basically like the responsibility of the food businesses, basically.
Okay. So if we talk about fake gluten-free claims, does it mean it's a food fraud?
Yes, exactly. So, well, food fraud itself is like a very general term. There's a lot of different like categories for fraudulent acts relating to foods. There's, for example, counterfeiting. Basically, like there's also like substitution as well. That's when, for example, we substitute a substance to essentially decrease the cost. Let's say, for example, in the case of like olive oils, there's a lot of olive oil substitution basically claiming that this is pure 100% olive oil when it's actually been mixed with other lower quality oils as well. And in this case, the fraudulent act that we're talking about here is mislabeling. So it's also considered to be a criminal offense as well. So it's not just a matter of like ethical issue or like just a simple problem. It's basically a criminal act to essentially mislabel things. It's also actually, if I'm not mistaken, regulated in our Indonesian law as well. Just based on like my quick search through internet and like my quick skimming through like Indonesian law, we actually have a law that actually regulates these kinds of like fraudulent acts, such as for example in the UU Perlindungan Konsumen, if a food business operator is convicted, for example, there is clear evidence that he or she is mislabeling information or like providing false information, they can be, for example, jailed for up to like 5 years and get like I think like 5 billion rupiahs of penalty. I think so. It's quite serious. It's a quite serious matter as well. And on top of that, from like the BPOM regulations, their license to like produce like foods can also be revoked as well. So there's like administrative sanctions and also like criminal sanctions as well, I think.
So actually, the government of Indonesia is already doing their best to protect the consumers here. But sometimes there are business actors there who are who are looking to find the maximal profit
Yeah,
instead
exactly.
of doing something that is ethical or illegal
Yes.
or legal, right?
Exactly. So food fraud itself, the main purpose of food fraud is to essentially profit from doing that fraudulent acts. So that is what constituted as food fraudulent acts. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Last questions.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a certain allergy or anyone have a certain food allergy, what advice would you give to us?
Okay. Well, okay. So probably just as like a disclaimer, you guys don't need to be afraid for like, from like buying things from like off the market. I think so. I think our current system, like in the food industry, already prioritizes your safety, of course. A lot of like the food industries, the big companies, they always try to prioritize the safety of the food first before like the quality. So that's also something that I teach in my class as well, in food safety as well, that safety precedes quality. So you cannot have a high quality food before you actually have a safe food. So safety is our number one priority, and people should not be afraid to buy things from, like for example, supermarkets and stuff. But what I can give as a recommendation to people that has allergies is to be a smart consumer. That's the reason why food producers place a lot of like information on their labelings, on their food labelings. That's to essentially give consumers the ability to choose their food smartly. Okay, so I would suggest that if you have a food allergy, you need to be attentive in what kind of food you buy. So if, for example, you have gluten allergy, then of course, every kind of food that you buy, you need to always make sure that this food does not contain gluten, or it does not, for example, contain any residues of gluten as well. So I think that's one of like the recommendations that I can give to people out there, like with having like allergies and stuff. Just be skeptical and just be safe and be a smart consumer when you're buying your products. Okay, just make sure to read your food labelings.
Okay. But I mean, like, let's say there's this a new bakery opening and it's really viral in
Yeah.
social media. Everyone is saying that it's delicious,
Mhm.
it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, and everyone is giving testimonial,
Yeah.
which is positive testimonial.
Yes.
But let's say me or my kid, let's say, have a very severe
Severe.
allergy. How can I be sure, or how can I like recheck that it's
Yeah.
actually gluten-free or it's actually dairy-free, sir?
Okay, so as far as I know, the BPOM, like the Indonesian Food and Drug, like I guess association or like organization, basically, already sets up like a law or like regulation that only permits like business to have a specific claim that they can use on their products. So let's say gluten-free. If you want to claim your product as gluten-free, you need to basically go through a lot of like checking and testing with the Indonesian Food and Drug Authority, of course. So before you can actually claim your product is gluten-free, you need to actually go through like these steps that BPOM has, and essentially get the like certificate that okay, this is gluten-free. So in terms of system, we already have the system in place. It's just that when people don't follow the system is when things get quite difficult for us to identify. So I think that's the case for like this, like the viral news about like the online bakery shop is because they didn't follow like the regulation that is usually applied. Usually.
So if I were a customer, I'm entitled to get the information whether you
course.
as a bakery, do you have the BPOM certifications of this
course.
gluten-free or not?
Yes.
Like let's say if you don't have the certifications, then me as a
Yeah.
food allergy, then I should not buy
Yeah.
or I should
how,
not
how
eat
can you be
this.
sure, right? How
Yeah.
can you be sure that the
Yeah.
product is safe and does not contain gluten? So
Yes.
it's your very right to essentially ask for like all of these certification, all of the proofs and evidence that a business had. That for example, this product contains no gluten, or for example, contains no dairy, for example.
Yeah. Again, guys, please don't easily trust whatever happening in social media, but trust science.
Yeah, be smart.
Yes. So I think that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, Sir Kenneth, for
Sure.
sharing with us why food safety is non-negotiable in food industry.
My pleasure.
It is actually very important that it could cost someone's life, right, sir? When not done properly.
Yeah.
For those who are doing food business, please take notes. For those who have food allergies, please be more skeptical and don't trust anyone out there. So yesterday, we actually made a Q&A pool in Instagram story, and
Okay.
actually there are a lot of questions.
Really? How many?
I think there are 1,000.
1,000. Wow. Okay. Good.
I'm not sure whether they are your fans or they are actually curious about the topic.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Question number 1. I have a question about gluten controversy.
Okay.
I often read free promotional content about gluten being accused of causing various diseases, highlighting the issue of leaky gut. Is gluten good and safe as long as we don't have certain diseases or what? Why is gluten such a controversial topic in the food industry? Is gluten really unsafe or just misunderstood? What do you think about this, Mr. Kenneth?
Okay.
This one is from Anastasia Pina.
Okay. Well, thank you, Anastasia. Well, basically, the simple answer is no. Gluten is not a dangerous product if you don't have any like allergies relating to gluten. So basically, gluten itself is just basically like a protein. So you can think of gluten as like a protein. Gluten itself is important in like a lot of like bakery products to essentially give that chewy texture. So that chewy texture that you have in like a lot of like baked goods like breads as well as like even like cakes, they are basically because of gluten, basically, right? So if you don't have any like gluten allergies or like intolerance or like sensitivity, then you're not gonna have a problem at all with gluten. It's just that for people that have gluten allergies, then the effects can be quite life-threatening sometimes, or it can also be mild as well. As I said before, the effects of these allergies can vary from like mild symptoms to like very, very life-threatening as well. So the simple answer is gluten is not a dangerous product, but it is dangerous to a certain people.
So gluten is actually misunderstood.
Yes.
And gluten-free doesn't mean it's a better product for normal people, but it's a special product for those who are special.
Yeah, not necessarily a better product per se, but we do see that in recent years, I think there is a lot of like increasing cases of like gluten sensitivity. So basically what it means is that a lot more people are becoming more sensitive to gluten. So that's why the gluten-free trend is kind of like increasing, because a lot more people are becoming more sensitive to gluten. And I think that's basically because of the changing diet, the changing like dietary pattern that is happening in our society, which makes people basically becomes more sensitive to gluten. I'm not entirely sure on that though, but I do know that the gluten sensitivity cases are increasing.
That's another topic. That's another interesting topic to talk about. Yeah, maybe on the next episode we can talk more about that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Next question from Dyson Nasikal. Does neglect of food safety can be a food defense case because it becomes an international act?
Okay.
Becomes an intentional act.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dyson. I think what they meant is basically if a food safety, for example, a food, uh, food,
Defense?
food outbreak, for example, like a case of food poisoning occurs because of unintentional thing happens. Is it like a criminal act or not? As far as I'm concerned, you may correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm not a lawmaker or anything, so I don't know the law very well. But I think if it's unintentional, I think it does not need to be a criminal act per se. But because it still happens, I think there's still gonna be some repercussions. There's still gonna be some sanctions or maybe like some punishments. It's just not a criminal act per se. I think the criminal act is only criminal if it's intentional, right? So I think that's the main difference between the two,
And if it's proven.
and it is proven as well,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Proven that they actually neglect.
Yeah.
Proven that they actually know that it's, let's say it's not gluten-free, but they still sell it as gluten-free, but they still
Yes.
keep doing that.
Yes. So again, intentional versus unintentional, of course. But there's also a thing called, for example, misconduct as well. So maybe they did not intentionally put, like, for example, gluten in their product, but because of their misconduct, because of their lack of knowledge that prevents them from for example, adding gluten into the product, it can become like a criminal act because of misconduct. Because you're supposed to know about this, because you're supposed to prevent this thing from happening, but you basically ignore it. So that's also something that can be also, I think, considered as a criminal act, if I'm not mistaken.
So because of lack of food knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So does it mean that people who do not have the background of food, are they still entitled to run a food business?
They are still entitled to run a food business, of course. It's your freedom to choose, of course, to run a food business. However, once you have started a food business and you start to send your product out into the market, then you have a responsibility to keep that food safe, of course. So basically, when you've started to sell your product into the market, then you have a responsibility to know how to make sure that the food is safe. So that's a responsibility that all food business operator needs to adhere to.
Yeah, please take note, guys.
Take note.
Okay, another question from Antonia. Seeing past MBG food poisoning cases, is it pure negligence or neglect that become an intentional? Wow.
I'm not sure I understand.
Serious, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So they were saying that, is it actually pure negligence? Like they are
Negligence?
intentionally giving the
Okay,
food
okay.
that they know that it's not safe,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it was once like they do not know that, but
Yeah,
after they know
unintentional.
that, they keep on doing that. Like it became
Okay.
intentional.
Well, I think, of course, trying
This-
to be positive,
Yeah,
guys.
this might be a pure opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
this-
we don't know what
Yeah, yeah.
actually happened.
This is like
till
pure
time.
opinion, and we're trying to stay positive here,
Yeah.
guys.
Don't attack us, guys.
Yeah, I think this is unintentional, of course. So, I think, of course, if you're running the country, of course, you don't want your people to get sick, right? So, I think this is a result of a lack of management that basically permits the cases of food poisoning to happen. So, just because of lack of good management, as well as a lot of complicated logistical problems, I think is what makes the food poisoning cases of MBK spreads out quite fast, I think. So I think if we can try to manage the safety first, I think the program can still run.
Okay, we're still optimists, yes, sir. Yeah.
Still optimistic, guys.
Optimist. Good luck. Okay. Now we're moving to the next section of this podcast, which we will have a little mini games. We're gonna play a game called This or That.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready, sir?
Okay. How many questions do you have?
I have 5 questions.
Okay. Well, you can give me 10 is okay as well.
Okay. Let's start with 5.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Which is usually safer to eat after the printed date?
Okay.
Expiry date or best before?
best before.
Why?
Because best before date is an indication of quality, not typically an indication of safety. So usually for things that are printed as like best before dates, if it's already past that best before date, you can still eat it. It's just that the quality might not be the same as is before the best before date. So let's say, for example, if you're eating like can I say like a brand name?
Yes, sure.
Like Ritz cracker, for example.
Okay.
If you eat a Ritz cracker after its best before date, it's probably not going to be as crispy as if you eat it before its best before date. While if, for example, let's say in the case of like I guess eggs, if you eat eggs after its expiry date, then you're gonna get sick, of course. So that's the main difference between
Yeah,
food.
yeah. So please don't judge anyone who, let's say, they are eating instant noodle after the best before date and saying it still
Yeah.
tastes good.
Typically, it's okay. Yeah, you can eat like usually dry foods, like crackers, like biscuits, as well as even like instant noodles. They can still be consumed after it's like best before
Okay.
dates.
Okay, okay. Okay, second one.
Yeah.
Do you prefer food that is healthy or delicious? This one.
Can I say neither?
No.
Well, I'm also quite a foodie, so I need to say delicious.
Okay.
But I think age is catching up quite quickly, so I need to also consider healthy food as well.
Okay. So, but if you need to choose one, which one is it? Considering yourself.
Well, why not healthy and delicious? Though?
It's possible in food technology.
It's possible in food technology.
But in this game, you need to choose only one.
Okay. I'll just go with delicious.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You won't have a life if you just keep eating like healthy, not delicious food.
Agree.
Yeah.
But it's still possible to eat healthy and delicious food with food.
If you go into food tech.
Yes.
So I'll see you in food technology, guys.
Okay. Third question.
Okay.
Do you prefer giving students a pop quiz or daily quiz?
Neither again. I'm not the lecturer that usually gives like pop quiz or like daily quiz. I guess pop quiz. I guess. Yeah, pop quiz. I think.
Just like a random pop quiz. I
Yeah,
don't
just
know.
like a random pop quiz because I think like daily quiz is a bit too hard for our students. I think because they already have like a lot of like different activities as well.
Oh,
Um,
what an understanding lecturer, guys. He
Well-
doesn't want to study with him.
well, I think it's because I've just finished like my studies, so it's still fresh on my mind. Like how a lot of like there's a lot of like assignments to do and like a lot of like quizzes and like exams. So I'm quite understanding.
Yeah, okay. What a nice lecture. Okay, which team are you? Bubur ayam campur or not?
Not campur.
Oh, not campur.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It just seems barbaric to like mix bubur ayam like completely. Like the
What's
smell.
so barbaric about it?
Like-
you can scoop one
No.
out of everything.
No,
It
I
causes
mean-
everything.
Yeah, I mean like the baba bubur
Yeah.
already prepares the bubur separately.
Yeah.
And like for example, he places the chicken here, he places
Yeah.
the peanuts here, and he
Yeah.
places like the leaves here. So why should you like mix it around? It seems
Because you want to
barbaric.
taste everything in one spoon all at once.
Well, you can just take one of each.
Yeah,
You don't need to like.
It gets campur anyway in your mouth, right?
Yeah,
So why
so-
not do it before?
No, because it gets champur anyway in your body. So why you champur it like at the start? So tim bubur not campur.
Tim bubur campur, I'm actually.
Okay,
So
okay,
we
okay.
agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. This one is from the fans. It's a little bit special.
Okay.
Are you
Yes.
single or taken?
I'll see you in the next episode.
You wanna know the answer? Studying.
Food technology,
Yeah.
i3L.
Technology,
I'll see you in i3L.
Okay. So I think this is all the time we have, guys. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Sir Kenneth.
Thank you as well.
With us, why food safety is non-negotiable.
It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, it is actually very important because it could cost someone's life, right?
Yes.
When not done properly. But if done properly, it's very good. It could be very profitable. For those who are doing food business, please take notes. For those who have allergies, be more skeptical. Don't trust anything that is going on in the social media, even if it's viral, even a lot of influencers are giving positive testimonials. Don't trust it. For those who are interested to study food, Join us at i3L Food Technology and Food Science Nutrition. Stay safe, everyone, and
See you at 3L.